Good evening. Today is Wednesday, October the 4th, 2023. It's a little after 6, and we are going to call together the work session for the City of Oregon City Commission. Will you have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Here.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Here.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Here.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Present. We have one item on our agenda. It is to discuss the city business license modifications, and I have Mr. Conkle and Mr.
Graham.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Graham, sorry. Something just came into my mind and made me start laughing. Mr. Graham.
All right, go ahead again.
She looked at you when she said that.
Yeah, I heard it.
It wasn't about you.
Good evening, Commissioners. As you know, this is a follow-up to our previous discussion in August regarding the business license restructuring. And as you know, we reviewed 8 communities to look at how they administered their own business license program, and we determined it was very varied amongst all of them. So so our current structure does not allow for a temporary business license. Our current structure, in terms of administration, there is no online portal to pay for your business license. There is an application fee under our current structure for $60 application fee. We have 4 categories of license fees based on the number of employees a company has. And the system requires all vendors in an event to pay for a business license in our current structure. We also have a community safety fee of $78, which has to remain because it's part of payment for a bond, the safety bond. So those are just some of the major categories of our current structure. With our discussion last August, we recommend, as a consequence of our discussion last August, we are offering the following recommendations. Generally, as you know, vendors and/or businesses that are selling a product and/or service are required to obtain a business license and to pay for it. We want to maintain the current calendar year licensing period from January to December. We want to eliminate the current non-refundable $60 application fee that is being applied to new applicants only. We want to reduce the number of employee-based categories from 4 to 3. The $78 community safety advancement fee must remain because it's part of the ordinance. We're paying back a bond. But when you take out that safety fee, what you have left is the net business license charge. Our home-based businesses located in the city continue to pay the $100 fee. That does not change in our recommendation. The safety fee is not applied to that home-based business fee. Any new businesses applying for the Oregon City business license will be charged according to the original business license fee structure. However, a $60 fee would not be applied at all. We would change the net business license fee to reflect a 50% reduction in the second year. So when you come back as a business reapplying, you get a 50% reduction in your business license and going forward, just as long as you pay within that December to January renewal period. If you pay beginning on February 1st and beyond, you're charged a late fee of $125 per month, capping it at $500. When you get to $500, it is the expectation that probably the code enforcement people will get involved and find out what's going on and why one is not paying their business license. The farmers market, we're recommending that only the primary organizer obtain and pay for the business license, and all the other vendors that are involved would not pay for a business license. However, we would want a list of participating vendors at least one day, starting each day, to be submitted to the Economic Development Department. Events in the public right-of-way require only the organizer to pay for the business license, and once again, submit a list of vendors 1 day prior to the event to the Economic Development Department. We are recommending that we add a temporary business license category for businesses or vendors, 2-week temporary business license for $50, no limit on the number of times one could apply for a temporary business license. In terms of exemptions, vendors that are under the direction of an event organizer are not required to obtain a business license. Garage sales are exempt. Nonprofit organizations with proof of a 501c3 status are required to obtain a business license, but there is no fee for them at all, and that's an exemption. If all of these recommendations are agreed to by the commission, we would have to change some existing municipal codes. We have an existing code, a business license application, that requires payment for an application, an initial application, and we would recommend that we remove that code altogether so that application is not applied. In terms of the annual business license fee for persons having no fixed place of business within the city, businesses operating from a regular place of business in the city shall pay 1 1/2 times the annual license fee for businesses operating from a fixed place of business within the city. Now, that's what's existing now. What we're recommending is that the businesses not operating from regular places of business in the city shall pay an annual license fee designated by the business operating under this designation. In other words, we have the fee in your staff report in terms of what they would pay. It's pretty straightforward.
Do you have an example of what that might be?
Sure, if you don't have a fixed place of business within the city, and you have one employee or up to 25, your second year would be $153.
Just trying to figure out what type of a business that would be in Oregon City that doesn't have a fixed location.
Oh, I see.
Excuse me, like mine before I had a storefront?
Yeah, but you had a whole lot.
Well, it was home too, yeah, but
Yeah.
I could see, yeah, could be.
A food cart vendor
Yeah.
that might not have.
Moves from place to
That
place.
might move from place to place.
Okay, so maybe
It's
like
not-
the guy that's at the trail center when we have the concerts in the park.
Except for they would probably under this fall under our tent permit.
Yeah, because
But
he's there
let's just say it
he's there for
was,
6 weeks in a row.
Right.
right, yeah.
Or if you have a photography business in your house.
Oh, but yeah, there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of, what that might be, so.
It's probably not as common as, a lot of the transient business that we see is associated with the First City Celebration or the Arts Festival or a Brew
that would
Fest,
come under
right?
a
Now they're gonna fall under
a different category.
that main permit, the person taking out the permit, because originally we weren't sure what to do with them, right? Were we gonna charge all these
Right, yeah.
vendors coming to
No,
these events
I don't
versus
look
the
at that as that.
umbrella?
I was just trying to think of a business that has one employee that's transient, and I'm thinking, okay. But I just haven't thought of anything yet. I'm wondering, so that I think it would be more permanent, so we have a large congregation on Malala Avenue, and they seem to have $3 clothing sales all the time. And that seems to be at least once a month, so I would not consider that, that's a fixed location that they're doing it on a fairly regular basis. I thought everything that you're proposing is great. The one thing I do get worried about is that even though we're exempting garage sales, I don't think it's our intent that people have garage sales every weekend.
Right.
And then that's their quote unquote, their employment, their employment, or they're making extra money on the side. And I know there've been some problems because I've been aware of the complaints about, a couple of places that I know that have, it seems like every week because the signs get posted and you see them, so
So if the commission decides to do away with that exemption, garage sales, then of course, I think that would be a municipal code change there, because it
Yeah,
is,
I'm not saying we should do away with it under the business license. It may fall somewhere else about, you know, how many you have on a regular basis, because that then, to me, starts getting into, it's not a garage sale.
not a garage sale.
That is the answer. That's a code enforcement matter, and if there's some clarification, I look forward to code coming before us. I've had that discussion with Ryan, and I think we need to review that and say what is a garage sale? And there's some factors that go into that, including that which you are selling. Is it your personal items, or those you went out and purchased or secured for resale?
Yeah.
So there's some things within that code that need to be strengthened. As far as the garage sale itself, I've got no objection to a family having, you know, 2 a year, or whatever it may be. And
It may go under a different spot, like you said.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that, Commissioner O'Donnell.
I'm not sure what a fixed location, I mean, if the same transient vendor sets up at the same corner every time, I don't consider that a fixed location.
We do not either.
Yeah.
You don't consider that one?
Okay, no, I do not.
No, neither do we. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I heard a statement that, well, they're there all the time, and that's fixed locate. No, it's
Oh,
not.
no, that was my example of someone who does not have a fixed location, is that maybe they're a food cart that moves around or comes into the
Sure,
community.
yeah.
Even if they go to the same spot, they still don't have
No, they have no-
a license or business location in the city.
So you're talking like one that would go like to an industrial location, they pull
Sure.
up their cart, you know,
Yeah.
it's not really a cart, it's a food truck.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they serve, and then they go on to the next location.
Right, or technically, if you're a consulting firm and you're based out of Utah, right? You want to come do work
In Oregon City, okay.
in Oregon City,
That would be,
right?
yeah.
That would be an example of a
Yeah.
transient business occurring in our community.
In terms of proration, the parading,
Hold on, I think there was one
what was
question.
another question?
I was looking at the numbers on licensed dollars, whether you're in this business or outside the business. That ratio seems to change. It's not a fixed 50% more.
Well, if you take out, if you do in doing the math, if you take out $78,
Take out what?
take out the $78.
Is that included in these
Yes.
first-year license amounts?
Yes. It's included.
Okay, I get it now. Sure, that works. It's
So in the 1
100
to 25, if you took off the 78, it'd be 100. So
Yeah.
then 78 plus 50 would give you the 128 on the
Yeah.
renewal.
Yeah, no, I can do
Okay.
the math. 178 becomes 100, and 228 becomes 150. That's 50%.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
With regard to proration, if an application is received on or before June 30th, the full application fee and the full annual license fee is required. An application received after July 1, now this is the existing situation. If an application is received on or after July 1, the business will be charged the full application fee and 1/2 annual license fee. Under the new proposed code, a new application received after January 31st shall be charged a prorated amount of the full annual fee based on the remaining number of months in the calendar year. In terms of delinquency, delinquent fees, license fees not, in terms of the current situation, license fees not paid within 30 days of the required date shall be deemed delinquent. An initial collection charge is imposed for delinquent fees or delinquent licenses. An additional collection charge equal to the percentage of the fee is imposed for each month or portion thereof that the fees remain delinquent. The city manager shall have authority to waive payment of collection fees under circumstances where imposition thereof would create an injustice or an unreasonable hardship. Now, in terms of the new proposed code, license fees not paid within the program's renewal period shall be deemed delinquent. A late fee will be charged in addition to the regular business license fee. The city manager has the authority to waive the payment. It's very straightforward, much more so than the existing one.
Question, there's a question?
Is there a question?
How are you licensing those business entities in terms of number of employees when they maybe say, I'm gonna send 3 of my salespeople into the greater Oregon City area, but they may have 30 or 40 or 50 employees? How do you license them?
If, I don't understand the question, we find out how many employees they have, and we have a discussion with them in terms of that.
Okay, so if they only put 1 person in here, but they're a business entity with 50 people statewide, they fall into the 26 to 50 range.
Within Oregon, within Oregon City.
Well, they won't be within, I mean, they're doing business in Oregon City because they're here soliciting business, and then they'll be here performing a function if they successfully solicit the business.
Their business is in Salem with 50 employees,
Oh, yeah.
and they have 1 employee in Oregon City.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
They have, their business is in Salem,
Yeah.
and they have 50 employees, but they only have 1 employee working in Oregon City. What would we charge them? I think is what you're asking.
I am, because I mean, their true business model is 50 employees, which they may or may have some number less than that in Oregon City working. If they successfully bid jobs and get them, you know, maybe they'd have more than that. So just keep it simple, I guess, is the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the current situation, what I understand, the current situation is that all 50 employees are counted.
Charge it for the total.
I think that's the way.
Yeah.
The total business, because it's your business, and we have a category for outside of Oregon City.
Right, okay, I'm good, that's what I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Thanks.
So that would mean like a bank branch of a national bank, it is always going to be paying the highest fee because nationwide they've got, you know, several thousand employees, even though they maybe have 6 or 7 in Oregon City?
That's correct. That's the current
Wouldn't you
situation.
charge, like, US Bank has a Hilltop branch and they have, let's say they have 20 employees.
Right.
And they're licensing that branch in Oregon City, but, you know, they have another branch in Happy Valley, but that's Happy Valley's thing.
Yeah, but Mike's point is they're a corporation with thousands of employees.
Yep.
I mean,
So you're going to base the fee on their total employment, regardless of whether it's in Oregon City or not?
if they're doing business in Oregon City, the total base.
Okay, and that's what we're doing now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. A question on the late fee. What was the reason for moving away from it being a percentage per month of the original fee? Because it seems like proportionally it's more even-handed instead of making it a flat $125 a month
Well,
for any size business.
a couple of reasons. One is it's straightforward. There's no question. I mean, it's very straightforward. You pay a flat fee, but also if you continue to be delinquent, it becomes costly. And the late fee is supposed to be a punishment. Under the existing situation, you actually could go quite a while not paying your license, your business license, and it may not cost you much. So, and by paying $125 a month, you get to that $500 cap pretty quickly. And so that's where code enforcement comes in.
Okay.
In terms of the it is recommended that we have a temporary business license in Oregon City. And businesses and solicitors operating within the legal boundaries of our city, say for up to 2 weeks, they can have a temporary business license. And there is no limit, as mentioned before, in terms of how many temporary business licenses they could acquire. So, in terms of exemptions, public events that take place within the legal boundaries of Oregon City and use the public right-of-ways and publicly owned facilities are required to have a business license. That's the existing situation. But vendors that are under the direction of an event organizer are not required. So basically, that would be an exemption. So if you're just an organizer, and you have all these other vendors working with you, they are not charged, just the organizer. And that would be the case there. There are some other areas. There's another area that the commission should consider, and that is we have a software system called Tyler. And we're recommending, well, the Tyler software system is going through an upgrade to provide.
Say that again, please.
Tyler software system. Tyler. It's going through an upgrade, and in order to provide better customer service. It's important that the Tyler system is in place so that these changes can be reflected in the Tyler system. Because what you don't want to do is implement something that the infrastructure is not ready to handle. Because if you do, you would get, even if it's good news, you would get a great deal of confusion. For instance, the portal. We will now have a portal for people to pay online. And so businesses need a chance to understand what's going on. They need to be educated about the new fees. They need to be educated about the new portal and also all these other elements that we're talking about. And we're recommending that we implement, if you agree with these changes, that we implement this we won't until until 2025 for the renewal period in 2025, because in that period, in 2025, we would spend a great deal of time marketing, promoting, educating. The system would be ready by then, and then we can go hopefully much more smoothly, as opposed to implementing something tomorrow.
Don't you feel that we could use option 2, which is to continue our current process, but also put out information about what's going to be coming?
Well, you could do that, but I'm just concerned about confusion.
Well, the future's not here yet.
No, confusion.
The confusion?
Confusion that might ensue, because then you would have two situations going on at the same time.
We're not ready to implement it, but the suggestion is that we implement the schedule beginning this year and process them the way we always have been. That way, we can roll out the new system when it's ready, but not delay doing anything with what we're currently doing now. I think we should implement the new schedule.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I misunderstood what you were saying at first. Because we can do that anyway. I mean, you could, but we just simply need more time. We just need time to educate the public on the new system. And the old system can operate going forward. But at the same time, they need to be educated. And people, of course, need an opportunity to ask questions.
So I wanted to ask a simple question. So I don't believe we've ever asked 501c3s to do business licenses, and we're not charging them a fee. So if I'm Steve Greenwood, and I'm the executive director of the Museum of the Oregon Territory, I would apply for a business license, but I'm not going to be charged a fee, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, I thought that was reasonable. We have a number of, foundations, like the Hospital Foundation operates out of here, and there's a bunch of them. I mean, it would be nice to be able to capture that as a category,
Sure.
to know, what, add the additional information to give us a better snapshot of what type of activities are going on in Oregon City.
American Red Cross and those kind of organizations, yeah.
Any questions?
And so Matt and I were going back and forth a little bit. It was an interesting question about how do we charge a branch of a larger organization, a McDonald's, a bank, any chain type business that may have a smaller employee footprint. So we did clarify, so we apologize that we charge based on the size of the employees at the facility in our jurisdiction. So if you're Bank of America and you have 16 employees, you would be the tier 1, even though you have 12,000 employees nationwide.
But they're not in Oregon City.
Correct. So in that situation where we have a multinational or a chain or a national business with a facility in our community, we just base it off of that facility versus the difference of a business that is outside of our city limits, but they have someone who comes in. So, okay.
So, and I'm fine with that. I don't think by memory ever filling it out, it specifies that. So I remember when I fill it out, I think it says how many employees, so most businesses would probably have that question. So if we need to put near that within the city limits or, yeah, on the application.
That's a very good distinction for those franchisees who may, like Wendy's is national, but this is maybe it's franchised here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other thing, just at the very end, just so you're aware, we are estimating that this will have an approximate reduction in revenue of approximately $70,000 to $80,000. And that's just based on, historic data and applying the new fees if they're implemented as proposed. There could be variances in that. Maybe we have a better collection rate, with the new system being put in through Tyler. Maybe we have a better ability to identify businesses that aren't paying or awareness. So, but just using straight numbers and applying it. And then per code, that's broken down 75% finance, 25% ec dev. And so in the staff report, it does just give you the granular breakdown of what 75 and 25 means, assuming, that roughly $75,000 reduction in revenue per year.
So does it enter into the realm of code enforcement if a business refuses to get a license?
Yes.
But continues to do business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a question it's on page 3, bullet point about halfway down. I just want to make sure I understand what original means. It says any new business applying for the OC business license will be charged according to the original business license fee structure. That doesn't mean the current one, it means this new one that you're proposing right here?
No, it means the one that's on page 2. That is the current business license. So if you're a first-time applicant, you would pay these fees.
Well, but we would be reducing it to 3 instead of 4 categories, correct?
Right.
Right. So it'd be the first year license amounts on page 3, right? Because we reduced it from the 4 categories to the 3 categories.
Right, so you have, as you see on page 3, 1 through 25 would pay, say, within the city, $178. And then if you 51 plus, you'd pay $394. So we reduced that from 4 categories to 3, so it's 51 plus. There you have it.
So I think the reference to original is that on page 2, the first 3 categories were 178, 286, and 394. And so we've dropped that 101 plus and the 498 fee. So the original is the first 3 categories that are now going to be applied across
The board.
the entirety of the spectrum of employee classes now. So instead of having the 4 steps, we're just going to have the 3. And the original fees is the 178, the 286, and the 394. Those are not changing in the proposed fee schedule, but it's just now being proposed over 3 employee ranges. Is that making sense?
Okay, so if I'm a new business and I've got 150 employees, do I pay $498 according to page 2, or do I pay $394 according to page 3?
You pay $394.
Okay.
Because now we're going to have 51 plus.
Yeah.
We don't have that 101 plus
Okay.
category anymore.
Yeah, the numbers are the
Yeah.
same on both pages.
I just didn't understand why we're referring to the original business license fee structure when we're going to be asked to approve a new structure.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
The original is the fees for the first 3 size categories that are held at that rate.
Yeah, not the original that you may have paid 20 years ago.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
100
nor
years
that either.
Or 100 years ago? Did we have business licenses 100 years ago? So I think I know the answer to this question, but during certain times of the year, we have what I like to call fly-by-night businesses that take street corners and sell things to people even though we know that they are not licensed. So that would be a code enforcement issue?
Yes, that
Yes.
would be.
How about,
A fireworks stand?
yeah, I was gonna say fireworks stand or
is one
Christmas
that we
tree,
see.
Christmas tree stand?
You're talking about something.
No, those are not the fly-by-night business. I'm talking about
No.
the people that sell the flowers on the
Flowers or-
corner, giant teddy bears or whatever the heck is going on.
Valentine's Day or.
Well, just like today, I saw a business selling cosmetics through a truck.
You saw somebody selling cosmetics out of the truck in the car?
So yes, I think that's a code enforcement issue. If it's,
long as they're
they
not
come in, they
spending
set up for 1 day or 2 days, you know, the ones we usually get are the fireworks stands,
Yeah.
the Christmas tree lots, you know, they're here for, you know, usually 30 days.
Yeah, but they need a business
But
license.
they need a business license, so yeah, but if it's someone who just pulls up their trailer and opens the door and, you know, hangs the shirts and the flags, and they are probably there for, you know, 1 or 2 afternoons, a Friday and a Saturday, that's gonna be a code enforcement issue that we would try to catch, because they're probably not gonna be there longer than a couple of days.
That would be a temporary business license.
Correct.
Or, yeah, they could say, yeah.
Yeah, I think probably in the last 3 years, since COVID, I have not encountered or been aware of by the community that we've had any door-to-door. You know, there's people that come and drop the flyers, you know, hey, your neighbors are getting a new roof, don't you want a new roof? You know, they're hiring some kid to drop things on people's doorsteps, or, you know, wouldn't you like your, yard done, or, you know, whatever. I don't totally consider that a, you know, business activity. But if they, you know, they come knocking on the door and ask me if I want to sign up for something, my first question is, that's great, do you have a business license?
Well, I consider it business activity, and that's why I have signs up in my house that say no soliciting, but apparently some people can't read.
Yeah, I think you said that to me when I came up to your house.
But all in all, we just want to emphasize, we want to give the business community enough leeway, enough time to know what's going on. And the Tyler system has to be ready so that these changes can be implemented.
So have you had a chance to chat with our new chamber ED about this?
Yes.
Good, all right. So gentlemen, we have a couple of options
Yeah.
here, and we need to give staff some direction. So do we want to do option one, which is to delay everything until the system's ready, or implement the new business license fee schedule beginning this year and process them the way we had traditionally done? So which means we would bring back a resolution to adopt the new fee schedule.
And an ordinance to implement the changes.
Right, okay.
And then eventually that would we'd shift that over to the new system when the new
New
system
system is
becomes
online.
available.
Correct.
So is that a consensus that we
I'm
want
fine
to
with
do
that.
that? Okay, so we fine with that? Fine with that? We're all good. Okay, so got the direction. So we want you to go ahead and start the new fee schedule, get us the ordinances that we need to implement that, and we will continue to process the applications via paper as we have historically done until the new system comes online.
Right, okay.
So I did have a quick question, which is more of a, I am gonna look at you. So I have been hearing, in the community about people being very pleased about our weekend, service we have through our code compliance department or division. And have you gotten any feedback about how that's going? Or should we have Ryan come later and give us the good news, or?
Yeah, if you give me a second, I can look up some stats that Ryan did. I think it was a week or two ago, but it's been going
Word
good.
is getting out that it's available.
Yeah, it's been going very
But I
good.
think what's not clear that we maybe need to put on the website or information about how you go about contacting them. I mean, I'm presuming that they're not in the office, so they're not really answering the phone. Are we going through the app, or we're going?
You could do anything. So we put out through the city, and I think we shared it also, that you can call dispatch,
Okay,
and they're on the radios. If they do go by the app or online to make a complaint, all those complaints go instantly to everyone in code enforcement. So if they're working, they will get that and they'll address it immediately or whenever they can, as soon as they can. That's been actually really good. So instead of getting a complaint on Friday night and no one doing anything, they've been able to address it either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So that's been a lot better customer service.
excellent.
But it's been going good. I'd have to find my emails from Ryan Kersey, but he sent me one a couple weeks ago.
But yeah, I've just been hearing very positive things about it, so. And I see them driving around.
Yeah, they've been very active.
Yeah, so I mean,
And then when we get complaints on some construction, hours, that kind of stuff, we can monitor it on the weekends and address it if there is any violations. And we've been good at that.
It's been a traditionally ongoing, I mean, it's one thing, you know, to have it start at, 9 or 10, but at 7 o'clock in the morning, you hear the nail gun going, it's amazing how loud it sounds when it reverberates through the neighborhood.
Yeah, I found that email. So, this is back from August 31st. Online citizen concerns sent over the weekends, there have been 11. Those concerns were addressed without having to wait till Monday or the following week. We had 12 staff-initiated cases, found 3 dogs roaming around. We were able to return those all to the owners, so that was good.
Thank you.
They do sign sweeps too during the weekend, citywide. They helped the police department several times on traffic crashes and miscellaneous requests, and then a couple animal complaints. So we assume or we anticipate that as this progresses, that more people will call in during the weekends, and so they should get a little bit busier. But it gives them time also to follow up on cases that they have assigned.
Thank you. Did you say sign sweeps?
Sign sweeps, yeah, for illegal signage.
Okay.
They've been getting a little more aggressive and screwing them into the telephone poles and the stuff,
Well,
so.
and
that's-
I'll just say I hope we can keep that up during election season as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems with that last year, unfortunately, and,
And we are in the process of doing backgrounds on our 4th code enforcement officer. That was approved through the budget committee, so hopefully that code enforcement officer will be up and running, go through training, and hopefully by the end of the year be on their own.
I guess one of the things that I really get discouraged about is when they use duct tape on the signal poles and it pulls the paint off of it, and, that's a big maintenance headache for us as, our staff, or they'll take it and wrap the tape around like 50 times on the pole. Like, okay, don't put it on traffic control devices.
We were talking to Ryan, we were gonna wait like a month or two, maybe cut 3 months, and then come back with like a quarterly report to show what's been going on. So that was after about 2 weeks, from August 13th through the 27th.
Yeah, I thought we've had it about a month, so been great. Thank you so much for that. Go ahead.
Just back to the business licenses, I just wanted to clarify that, despite the changes, we will still be accepting I believe it's the Metro business license. They have one as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I was gonna ask about how that is incorporated into this, because that's mostly contractors and, larger companies that do that one. It's 3 counties,
Yes, we will.
and there's a provision in there for that.
I'll have to go look. I'm not familiar with if it's part of an agreement that we have. We do receive, a portion of that revenue,
Yeah, no, I knew
for
that
the
part.
region-wide metro.
But I mean, in our
business.
code, if you have a Metro business license, there should be something in our stuff saying that covers it. But
Yeah, we'll go back and look. I don't know off the top of my head if that was just done through policy or if it's codified.
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just pleased to hear the positive feedback on weekend code enforcement. Because this commission, during the budget process, we had the discussion, everybody here was dedicated to livability and not having to put up with nuisances in the prior system of calling dispatch and being sent to a dead end, and that just didn't work, and this is working, so.
It's also one of our goals.
It was a goal, it always has
It is
been a goal.
Okay. All right, anything else? We have no questions for Mr. Zook. I mean, he feels a little left out sometimes when we don't ask him anything, so want to make sure,
Yeah, but he answered a question without us even on the.
there, we'll see, there you
Yeah,
go.
he was
Okay,
on it.
all right.
He's off the hook.
I'm checking that box then. Okay.
Since we have a couple of minutes.
Yes, we do.
And the list of work session items isn't on here like it sometimes is. Does anyone else up here feel a need to look at our construction hours?
You mean revisit them?
Revisit it's 7 days a week. It's 7 in the morning till 10 at night during the week, I think.
I wouldn't mind, I think on Sunday, we should have it should be reduced. I mean, I'm.
Or not.
7
I'm just,
7 a.m. on Sunday morning is a bit much, in my opinion.
just wondering if the other commissioners would think that it needs to be looked at, as a future topic.
I'll join in on that, and not just for Sunday either. I mean, we hear it, and we hear about pouring cement and what it requires, and let's have the discussion. Let's be considerate of the people that live here.
Although, mostly in the commercial areas, it's not a big deal, but where you're doing something that's adjacent to residential, like we've had with the county thing, I think that's where the, sort of the rubber meets the road. I know that homeowners sometimes have limited time, that's the weekend when they can do stuff, but like I said, you really do not want to be hearing a nail gun at 7 a.m., on a Saturday morning. Maybe you should be up, I don't know, but, just speaking for somebody that lives in the neighborhood, it's a little jarring, but sometimes I know they're trying to beat the weather. I know there's going to be a lot of last-minute roofing projects coming up here as people try to beat, the winter weather, if and when it ever comes, and they're out there, just working away. So, all right, that's great. Thank you so much. We're adjourned until our next session.